YouTube series Miss Confidence, when we invite bright women who share their ideas in their professional career, personal lifestyle, and certainly we're going to talk about relationship. Today, Miss Confidence, Elvira Domracheva. I would call her new star in BC real estate world, particularly in residential brokerage. Majority of Elvira's clients are into renting and leasing condos and properties in Vancouver, mainland. So, Elvira, I know that you came to real estate being graduated in finance. Why real estate?
Actually, it was always real estate. Back home, my family has a large development and construction company. And since childhood, I saw how the houses were built. So it's always excited me. Because, to buying a property, the house, it's not just like a simple purchase. It's one of the most significant and most expensive purchase of someone's life. So that's why it's a different feelings when people buy the property. It's not just like buying a dress or the car, they're actually coming there, they're seeing themselves there, they're seeing how they're going to grow there, how they're going to grow their families, kids, they're seeing themselves drinking a cup of tea on the kitchen or one glass of wine on the patio, and it always drives me forward because I like to be there next to the people when they're making that significant decision in their lives.
Wow. So what's the average age of your client now?
So it depends because I'm doing rentals same as sales. So when it comes to rentals, it's usually between 20 years old to 45, I would say. And when it comes to purchase, it's between 40 to 60 years old.
Oh, okay. And how many of them families with kids? What's the percentage?
Yes, I would say 50-50. Some families child-free, and some families really have multiple kids, even 5.
Oh, yeah. Okay, one thing that was shocking for me when I just immigrated to Canada and I had to rent something, there was a request, no pets, no kids. For me, it was absolutely shocking news because I would never estimate like apple to apple kids over the pets. So tell me please, to rent condo, is this easier with kids or pets now?
Yeah, this is a good question. It actually depends on the landlord because of some of the landlords, they have a concern about let's talk about the pets, right? So for example, some of the landlords, they actually has a concern about the potential damage which pets can do to the property. So that's why they're not allowing to have any pets. In addition to the landlord restrictions, if we are talking to the apartments and condominiums, in addition to the landlord's restrictions, we also have a strata restrictions, which is also may permit just only cats or just only dogs or combination of them, or may not permit no one at all. Also, from my personal experience, recently I have the client and she had a ferret. So it was a small, cute little ferret, And so for that in particular situation, because it's already a not common animal, so we need to check strata bylaws and see what kind of animal they permitted. So meaning that in that particular situation, I assume that the ferret was a caged animal, so meaning that she actually allows to have it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be like snake, if someone allows the snake, let's say. So meaning that when someone has a pet, of course, the housing search is going to be narrowed down because there is no many options of that. When we're renting a house, it's different story because there the landlord, the owner, is actually putting the rules for the house. So and they're easy to negotiate than the condominiums. Yes, and this is what about the pets, right? About the kids, I never had that problems to put families with kids to the rental properties because of also some landlords thinking about that it's potential damage, maybe because kids are small, they're just exploring everything, touching walls and and everything. Yes, but other than that, noise complaints maybe. But other than that, I never had a problem with the kids placed to the property.
Okay, so overall, no exotic paths.
Yeah.
Or my conclusion, or just ask and verify with Elvira all these nitty-gritty details.
Yes, because in case of having exotic animal for the condominium, it's definitely narrow down the search. And in that particular situation, rent the house or buy a house.
Yeah, and with kids, bring more kids, guys. Okay, so I would like to ask, you just mentioned something. So do you remember any fun story when you just immigrated related to cultural difference between your culture and local Canadians?
Yeah, I would say that I remember I immigrated 8 years ago, being completely like non-Canadian, so I didn't speak well English, didn't have anyone here. So and by that experience, I remember every time I talked to my family over the phone, like all English speakers were so like excited about that, and they always asking me, "What are you fighting about?" Because it's all of my Russian accent. They usually thought that I'm fighting with someone or something, because the intention, how I can say, like the volume, intonations, volume, yes, and yes, and they always asking me, "What are you talking about? What did you say?" Yeah. And I said, "Oh, I said my mom that I love her." They said, "Really?" Yeah. So this was one of the thing which I actually taught myself to talk a little bit, intonation wise, more like a music. Yes. Yes, and this was the finest.
Yeah, the language sounds harsh a little bit. I would agree. Yeah. So I would ask. Okay, so you immigrated, you being single. So right now, can you tell me, please, is this easier to immigrate being single or being married?
Yeah, I think that it is actually depends on individual circumstances of every situation, because I immigrated here when I was single. So meaning that all my decisions I made myself. And given my nature, which is actually very down to earth and practical nature, so for me, all decision was good because I was I needed a little that time, When so that's why it's one path to immigrate when you're actually here doing everything yourself and just all your life on your shoulders kind of thing. When we immigrate with someone as a couple, there are two people making decision already, so you need to consider second opinion, but it's good when two people working, so meaning that you always have someone back. So I would say that it's easy to immigrate with couple, with spouse or partner, if you have a good dynamic and valued relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. So one thing I would like to ask, right now you live in Vancouver. So what's the main benefit you got with this location? Tell us.
Yeah, Vancouver is just the most beautiful city in the world.
I would agree. I would agree. Totally.
So yes, we have mountains, we have ocean, we have US close to us. The weather is the most warmest here, and for immigration purposes, the people around here who is living here, they are half of them immigrants, so meaning that they are very friendly to us. So that's why, and recently as a hobby, I started to run events in Vancouver area. So yes, every month I'm running events.
I'm telling you, Joseph, I love it about you. Very positive.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm running events for 50, 70 people every month. So we're all,
singles?
Singles and mingles.
Oh,
yes.
Mingle for singles.
Yes. And couples as well, because we open our doors to everyone, and we're doing networking there, connections, networking, and also we just mingle single people.
I would agree. Vancouver is very multicultural, but it's also quite famous among Hollywood professionals because we all know that Vancouver is a big scene for filming industry. So did you meet any of the big star celebrities or maybe a bunch of them?
Yeah, I saw the big a bunch of big cars blocking the road in
Okay.
downtown Vancouver, who is actually has all of this movie set up, and all of this stuff. Yes, and it's very interesting and intrigue all the time we can see there. Yes, I'm personally saw just only how they eat all of these trucks, and once I saw the Tom Holland, I think, the guy who is in Marvel, he is working with Marvel movies and he is Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with Marvel, but I can imagine it's a big star.
Yes, it is. And it was just like so many people was there around, and I saw his costume. Like, he just like walking there, and just like doing their scenes. It was exciting, of course, yes. That's why we love Vancouver,
Yeah, that's another good reason to be here, because you never know who you're gonna bump here into. Well, I want to ask you a few questions about your industry. And one of the question I have, in some countries like Singapore, for example. So in Singapore, there are certain strict rules in majority different areas, but one of the rules related to private properties, like going nude in a private residential space is illegal. Do we have any those particular strict rules when you rent or buy, let's say, condominiums in downtown of Vancouver?
No, we don't have any restrictions like that. We can be naked, we can be nude, but just only please remember, don't be loud after 11 p.m.
Oh, that's easy to remember. That's very easy to remember.
Just keep quiet, more quiet after 11 p.m.
I can do that easily. So one thing I was seeing the new trend and everything going on in society, in the whole world. Do you think that young generation from your clientele in the future consider renting over buying, or they still would consider buying and consider that as a big investment in their lives?
Yeah, good question. As I said, the purchase of the house is one of the most significant and expensive purchase of people life. And of course, nowadays for the younger generation, it's more challenging because of the house market became less affordable for sure, because they need to save for down payment, and then to pay mortgage, be qualified for mortgage actually, right? So that's why I think that younger generation, it's not just by wish, but they forced to rent most of the time right now. And now when they forced to rent, I think that people start to understand the beauty of renting, because of you don't tie it down with the one location. You can just be here and then you can switch it to another one, and especially when we're young, it's nice to try every location. But then actually I advise, like, when we are already try many locations, so start to think about to buy a home, because of it's still a good investment. Because instead of paying rent to landlord who pays mortgage for their apartment, it's better to pay a mortgage to your bank, and it's still gonna be your place.
Totally.
Yeah.
Did you experience, I will have few questions related to relationship, because that's what we do, long-term, strong, loving, caring relationship.
Yes,
so, and it is related to the place where you live, right? So, my question would be, have you experienced clientele that came to you, like a couple, and they being just boyfriend girlfriend, and you found them place, and because the place is so cozy, so they got into the cozy feeling and they became married after a while?
Yeah, I actually had such a couples and such an experience. So a few couple I helped to find a house. Then afterwards they called me and invited me to their wedding. It was just like such a heartwarming experience for me, and I'm so glad to be part of that, because of course our environment, it's affect us. It's a huge impact on us. So that's why, better house, better life.
This is really smart because besides that, you got permanent clients for the rest of their lives, right? Because they will feel comfortable with you every time they would like to buy another or switch or exchange another property.
Yeah.
Bravo, actually. So I also, by the way, did you meet ever a lucky girl who got full support from her husband or life partner that actually bought her condo or house?
I know the girl,
Yeah.
and she got a house in West Vancouver from her fiance.
West Vancouver.
Yes, so
Wow.
it's like a British properties. It cost like, I don't know, $6 million.
So for those who's not aware about that, British Properties located in West Vancouver.
Yes.
And it's the top,
Yeah.
most expensive, luxurious lifestyle if you got something in a British property.
Yes, it was a beautiful Persian girl, and her fiance was also Persian, so it was a very lovely story.
So one of the obligations to be a beautiful.
And smart, and smart.
Here you go, beautiful and smart. That's majority of our dream partners in our company. Okay, so based on everything I heard, we may have different visitors of our YouTube channels and people that considering or thinking to move in Vancouver, singles or young couples. Would you recommend people from Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton to consider Vancouver, or maybe to move, or maybe just investment as an investment?
I would definitely recommend at least to try, because every city has its own vibes, and of course maybe someone likes Montreal. I do love Montreal as well because it's so historical, right? But as soon as you come to Vancouver, cultural, and as soon as you come to Vancouver, you see all of these mountains, ocean, all of this beauty. The weather is warmest here, so of course many people just want to stay here. So that's why, of course, people should come here and try to live Vancouver lifestyle. Also, what I'm going to say about real estate in Vancouver to invest, it's like a blue chip investment, because of Vancouver is surrounded by ocean from one side, mountains from another side, US border from another side. So the actual value of land here is always gonna stay high. So that's why it might be a very good investment for people. So that's why I really recommend to invest here.
Another thing that I noticed actually to continue that topic, that Canadian culture is very family focused. Would you agree with that from your experience, touch base with Canadian families?
Yes, I agree with you. As many Canadian families I see, I consider they are all family oriented. They all have kids, grandkids, they're all focused to protect their families and connections. They all have a close friends connections between them. So yes, and I mean that I agree that it is mostly like friends and families. Pets, dogs.
Yeah. In general, Canada is a family-oriented country, I would say so. Living in Toronto, Edmonton, Calgary, now here in Vancouver, I can see that clearly, but I was curious how you think about that.
Yes, I even saw families, for example, someone who rent places, they living like mother, grandmother, like a husband and wife, kids, they all renting big house all together. They support each other, and they celebrate all of these Easters, Christmas, birthdays. Yes, it's so amazing when I'm seeing that, so that's why, yes, I agree.
Wow. So, what's your favorite quote about relationship? If you have some in mind.
Yeah, I would say that love is something what we don't need to find, because love is something what finds you.
Love is in the air. That's all I can say. That's totally. Yeah. Thank you very much. Right now, are you ready for our fun, rapid fire questions?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Yes,
Let's do that.
shouldn't all of them.
Best place for the first date.
Granville Isle.
Empathy with losing money or money with losing empathy?
Empathy with growing money.
I like that. Where in BC you would buy yourself a dream house?
For now, it's North Burnaby. I'm practical. I'm practical.
Good. Man with ambitions or man with a big heart?
Man with a big heart.
I like that word, big. Biggest celebrity you met in downtown Vancouver?
Yeah, so let's put at home Holland, Spider-Man.
Mountain view or water view?
Water view.
Your most favorite restaurant in Vancouver?
I would put Joe Forti's Seafood.
Best show you ever seen in Vancouver?
I saw many shows, but I like when it's film. It was a film, James Bond, attending by live orchestra.
Condo house?
House.
Your favorite season?
Autumn.
Downtown or suburb?
Suburb.
Thank you very much, Miss Confidence, Elvira Domracheva.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
You're welcome.
Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Ay, still not